Mia Khalifa, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you for having me.
By many measures, you are a very famous woman. For instance, you have, more than 16 million followers on Instagram. But the origins of your fame lie in your brief involvement in the porn industry. Is that hard for you to deal with?
Absolutely. After I left, I deleted I didn't delete my Instagram. It got hacked by ISIS sympathizers and propaganda was posted all over it. So Instagram took it down. And I didn't recreate one for another year until I decided to kind of accept my fate as the infamous former porn star and try and change the narrative. So I recreated an Instagram account and tried to, for lack of a better term, become an influencer.
If you put your name, as indeed I have done researching this, put your name into Google and...
On the Work Network?
Yeah, well, it was work, but the point is, you get these countless links to videos, the word porn star appears immediately. That is something that you will never, ever overcome, however much...
First of all, that's rude. I'm trying to.
Yes, I understand that.
It.
I don't mean to say you want it to be, but it's the way technology, the internet works.
Yeah. I'm not very Google friendly, and we're trying to change that. One of the first things that comes up is the site that I do not own or control, but where the homepage is written in first person, like I am the one running it. And on my Wikipedia, it's posted as my official website, and we've tried countless times to get it taken down, including taking legal action, but the company they won't hear anything, and we've made them countless offers.
A girl who was brought by her parents to the United States from Lebanon, your home country, schooled in the United States, clearly smart, went to university in Texas, read history. How did you get involved with the sex porn industry?
I don't think low self-esteem discriminates against anyone. It doesn't matter if you come from a great family or if you come from a not so great background. I struggled my entire childhood with weight, and I never felt attractive or worthy of male attention. And suddenly, my first year of college, I start losing all this weight from making small changes. And by the time I graduated, I was ready to make a bigger difference. I felt extremely self-conscious about my breasts because that was the first thing to go when I lost all the weight. I lost about 50 pounds. I don't know how many kilos that is, or stones.
Well, it's a considerable amount of weight.
Yeah.
It changed your body, it changed you physically.
Completely.
Yeah.
So my biggest insecurity was my breasts. So I wanted to more or less go back to what they normally were. And once I did that, I started garnering all of this attention from men, and I was never used to it.
You were spotted, I think, on a street. I mean, there you were a young graduate wanting to sort of find a job, and you were spotted on a street by a guy who said, I can work with you, and clearly he opened up and said, it's the porn business. What was it in you that far from running away, was drawn into it? That's not how it was. It wasn't just, hey, do you want to come do porn? It was more so, oh, you're beautiful. Like, would you like to do some modeling? Oh, you have a great body. Like, I think you'd be great in nude modeling. Things like that. And after I came and toured the studio, it was very respectable. It was a gorgeous location. It was in Miami, in Doral, Florida. It was clean. Everyone who worked there was nice. All of their cubicles were decorated with family photos. Like, it was nothing dodgy or that made me uncomfortable. And after the first time I went in wasn't the first time I filmed a porn movie. It was the second time. The first time was more so, do you want to do this? Like, sign the paperwork, et cetera, et cetera. As we talk about it now, whether you feel a sense of victimhood, whether you look back at your younger self, because obviously now you're 26, but this is when you were 21, do you look at that 21-year-old and feel that she was used, she was very much a victim? I feel like she didn't have the tools to identify that she was being taken advantage of, and that what she was being told was lies. maybe not so much lies, but, you know, trying to manipulate me to doing what they wanted me to do. I don't really see myself as a victim. I don't like that word. I did make my own decisions, even though they were terrible decisions. I think that
if they asked you to perform a particular kind of sex act that you absolutely did not want to do,
no, they can't force you.
No.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, do you think it made a difference? I'm genuinely just asking that you're of Arab heritage. Your parents were from Lebanon.
I'm from Lebanon. I was born and raised there.
Exactly. You're Arab, and Arab culture is deeply conservative on the whole. And do you think that was an extra layer that you had to peel away as you got involved in this business?
Probably. I think a part of it was also rebellion and wanting to do something so out of bounds and so out of character that I shocked even myself.
And I guess this is a very stupid question, but of course your family had no clue as to what you were doing.
No, and they disowned me when they found out.
Did they?
Yes.
After you made the video that I want to talk about in a moment, which involved you wearing the Islamic dress, the hijab, you, for a time, were the #1 most popular porn actress on Pornhub, which is this aggregator site for porn that is wildly popular throughout the world, it seems. And you were getting hundreds of millions of views. And yet, despite that, in the porn world stardom, you were paid a grand total for all the 12 sex videos you made. You were paid a grand total of $12,000 US. And yet you made millions and millions of dollars for both Bang Bros, the company that you worked with, and Pornhub, the aggregating site. How could that be?
That's just how it is. I'm not the only one who was singled out by this. It's not like I had a terrible contract or a terrible manager. Not that I didn't have a manager or an agent.
At all?
No.
No advisors, nothing at all?
No.
And you were 21 years, you were barely out of childhood, frankly.
Yeah. No. I mean, the human brain doesn't fully develop until the age of 25. So like my decision-making part of my brain still needed forming.
Porn business, because you make a video, it lives forever online, and the more popular it gets, the more hits it gets. And we're not just talking about the United States. Many of your videos were, it seems, very popular in the Middle East.
The most popular in the Middle East.
Which is interesting in itself.
Because they're the ones who are tweeting death threats at me.
Exactly. We'll get to that in just a moment. But the point of the finances is, however popular you became, the #1 star in this business, you had no residuals, no rights whatsoever to get any sort of recompense for your popularity.
None. None whatsoever.
And is that, have to get to this one particular, I mentioned at the beginning, the notorious video you were involved in, which actually involved 3 young people, you were one of them, and you were wearing the Islamic headscarf, often known as hijab. And of course then it developed into a sort of a sex scene. You must have known how provocative that was.
I verbatim told them, you guys are going to get me killed.
And they said?
They just laughed.
Why didn't you then say, I'm not doing it?
Intimidation. I was scared.
But
I knew that if I said no, it would, they're not going to force you to do it. At that point, that's rape. No one's going to force you to have sex. But I was still scared. I mean, have you ever felt scared not scared, but nervous to speak up and say something at a restaurant when your food's not right and the waiter comes by and says, how is everything? I was intimidated. I was nervous.
In terms of getting out of the business, when that went viral, that video, and your face was just so well known and associated with something so provocative, and you were receiving the threats, was it a very quick decision for you to say no more?
I wouldn't say very quick, because I was still nervous. I didn't know whether, I didn't know how they would react to it. I actually called them all in to a meeting about a month later and sat them down, and I had a resignation letter waiting in front of every single one of their chairs. And I spoke to them about my feelings and They tried to convince me to stay, and they told me this will all blow over and that I'm overreacting and I'm exaggerating about the level of peril that I'm in.